Well, when I kind of got my start when our school had this like technical program, Burlington Technical Center, and the teacher behind it, Jason Raymond, had pretty much has his hand in a lot of the emerging artists coming out of Burlington. His digital media program, like he has a booth there. He's got Pro Tools, FL Studio. So going there kind of like showed me, oh, this music thing is kind of cool. And I would go there. I was in like 9th grade, and I would be recording these like rappers, and I didn't know what I was doing, but that's how I got my start, just recording people on Logic, making beats for them, just having fun.
And like with that, like, how do you feel about the new underground wave of hip hop that we have now? Do you have some favorite artists, some favorite people you've worked with that you like, and how do you feel about the whole sound that we're in now?
I think certain people are doing things better in the underground than other people. I'm not a huge fan of like the whole like paying homage thing. Like I don't like when there's certain artists who just kind of like rip off what other people have already did and then just kind of repurpose it in not a great way. But there are certain artists I do like. I'm a big fan of 13 Degrees.
Shout out Chicago, man.
Slayer.
Shout out Slayer.
Molly Santana too. I like Molly Santana. She sometimes does. I think she does the homage thing, but I don't know. She does it better than other people.
Bro, yeah. I mean, kind of just a bit of backstory. We're curious, like how you know, people come to production from a lot of different perspectives. Whether it's like playing every instrument, just like fucking with, hopping on a DAW and making some shit. What brought you to production, and what was that kind of like shift in your life towards being like, oh, this is something I want to do?
Originally, I wanted to try rapping because I was like, oh, I think making music will be fun. I tried rapping. I sucked at it. I was terrible. So I was like, you know what, let me make some beats. Let me see how fun this could be. And then I started like using Looperman, and then I'd take like the royalty-free melody loops, and then I'd take an in-tempo royalty-free drum loop, and I'd just throw them together and I'd be like, oh, listen to this beat I made, man. It sounds awesome. Everything was out of key. It was terrible. But I guess I just kind of like, I just enjoyed listening to music when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, this could be cool to like make it.
Yeah. So, you know, you mentioned you were from Burlington, Vermont, and that you had a teacher who was a really great, you know, inspiration, I guess, on your journey. Have you connected with any of the other heads coming out of Burlington? Is there a lot of like music people?
There's
there?
a lot of music in
Really?
Burlington. There's Burlington tends to get a lot of immigrants and a lot of people who've like moved from other states. So there's a huge like there's a lot of different people from different cultures. One of my best friends, he's not even from Burlington, he's from Baltimore. And he's popping off. He helped run this show. He helped perform at this show with me over Thanksgiving. But there's a lot of people in Burlington.
Getting more into like, you know, the projects that you've worked on. You know, you had a record, An Evening into Sweet Despair, you know, and it was, you know, talked about in Vermont news articles speaking about how, you know, you were recognized in such a profound way as one of the best albums coming out of Vermont. What did that moment mean for you? What did that moment mean to see the kid who was started making music just putting shit together, putting loops together, to now being recognized as a real producer with real artists?
I mean, I thought it was cool in the moment. Like, it was cool to see local newspapers, you know, pay attention to me. But it was interesting because I don't like that album. I don't like it. That album.
Why don't you like it, bro?
It felt forced. It was like I was trying to do this whole like jazz project and like make something. I felt like I was trying too hard to do something I wasn't like known for, and like I liked doing it. It was cool, but I just feel like it wasn't me. So looking back on it, doesn't feel as like authentic as it could have been. But it was still cool to see people write about it, people talk about it, people still really like it. So it was, it was cool to see.
Yeah, I like that song a lot. She got a great voice.
You mentioned working with an artist, one from Vermont, and then two that I guess you met in New York. Tell us a bit about like how it differs working for someone from like your hometown that you may have like, I don't know, known for some time versus someone that you met in New York.
I mean, because I work at a studio back in Vermont, so like a lot of the times when I know someone who's coming into the studio, I usually have heard about them or have seen their music, so we kind of like already have like a little bit of a background with them, like already kind of know who they are, what they do, so it's a little bit more like friendly. But like when I'm working with some people out here, if it's just a different vibe. Like there really wasn't that many recording studios back in Burlington, so people didn't really know how to act, so it was kind of more of like a friendly thing. But people out in New York, they've been to studios, they know what it's supposed to be like, so they're much more like, they're not as talkative, it isn't that like, sometimes my friends back home, they're like, oh, yo, I was a little late to the session, yo, here's like a Gatorade, or here's like a piece of pizza. But New York, it's like, yo, I'm late, load this beat up. And like not a lot of talking. They'll be like, yo,
straight to business.
Yeah, straight to business. They're a lot more business like here. So, but I mean, some people are nicer. It just depends. You gotta work with them. You gotta talk to them. But then if they're not like giving you something back, then it's just like, I don't know. It's different. It's definitely different.
And continuing on like, working in New York studios, where was the first studio that you were hired at? What was that experience like? And, how did that, start your career in audio engineering and producing?
The first studio I worked at was in Vermont, but it was a brief thing. Ownership was a little interesting. Guy was a little strange, did some things. But I didn't really, like, I thought I was good, but then I got an internship at Mansion Studios in February of 2024. And they like recorded Jen Carter. The head engineer did all of like the big Pop Smoke records. And like they have like the plaques on the wall. Like when you go in, you go into Mansion, you walk in the front door, they have the platinum plaques in there. And it's like 5 times platinum for Pop Smoke. And it's just like that was when I realized, there's levels to this. But there's not like, there are people who are way more successful than me at engineering, and it was just like kind of a down to earth moment, because I was like, I need to get better. Because I would listen to my mixes, I played them, I was like, oh, here's some stuff I did, and they're like, oh yeah, this is okay, and I was like, damn, I put like 5 hours into this mix, and they're like, yeah, it needs work. I was like, shit, this song's already out. All right, whatever. But they the team there, I can't thank them enough for like what they taught me. I had so many mentors there, but what they taught me at Mansion basically shaped who I was as an engineer pretty much. I was an intern at the time. I was cleaning up roaches on the ground, like like the little joint roaches. I was doing that. I was there was one time we still had carpets there. They had like they changed from carpet to hardwood when I left for the summer. Came back, I was like, oh, it's all hardwood. But I remember one time I was cleaning up after a session, and they just like, there was a piece of pizza that was like upside down, sauced down, and they were just like, yeah, yo, bro, sorry, we made a mess. And I was like, that's okay, I'll clean it up. Thanks for letting me know. And they didn't even throw it out. They just left it there. Someone like stepped on it too.
Oh no.
And I was like, all right, great. And then there was like a little triangle stain in the carpet from the pizza. But I learned a lot. I learned how to use a lot of outboard gear, which was cool. But that kind of helped me when I went back to Vermont for the summer. That's when shit changed. When I was like, oh, I can be a great engineer now. Once I learned like how to really produce and do everything right.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of talked about it, how it's like sort of a humbling experience, but then you learned a lot. So like going from Mansion to now you're at, Studio 404 over in Bushwick, like what is it like being a young engineer and having that experience of already working in, you know, one studio, and now you're at like a really high level spot? Like, what's that like?
It's definitely different. Like, I remember almost begging for a spot to be at Mansion, to be like, yo, like once I did all that, I was like, yo, please let me be an engineer. And they were just like, we have too many people, we have too much of a big staff, we can't give you a spot. And I was like, okay, that sucks, but I didn't tell them to them, but I was like, I'm not really in the mood to clean up roaches for another year, because I know I can do this. I know I can work at a studio. But I had friends at 404. A lot of my New York music friends that I've made music with, hung out with them. I know they go there, and I was like, yo, can I work here? And they were like, yeah. Like, we've heard your music, we've heard your mixes, we know you can do it, we know you can mix stuff down. But it's been really fun because they have a lot of great equipment over at 404. And they have a really great, like, we have a good team. Everyone is like very nice to each other. Not that it was great at Mansion, but they've just, you know, they've been supportive of me. They're like, they know I don't know that many people out here, but they're still giving me a chance, throwing me clients, and just it's been great working there. But I think I made the one that got placed like by myself at my crib, or I think it was either at my crib or I did it at Mansion, because it was like one of those like late night shifts I was working. It was like 2 a.m. I think it was one of those where I made that.
That's awesome. And you know, drifting away to like, you know, more, you know, you've worked with a lot of different clients, you know, working with people from VT, working with, you know, some underground names, you know, that maybe some people aren't aware of. You know, what's different when you're working with someone who is working for the team who's working for a larger artist versus working, you know, collaboratively with someone from your hometown or someone from the underground?
I mean, when I haven't worked with that many like big artists for production, but I do know that like they want beats daily. They're in the studio all the time. They're working, so you have to send stuff out damn near every day just to try to get like a chance on getting on this album. And it's a lot of work. Like, you have to put in hours of your day just to like make a couple loops, make 3 or 4 loops just to send out. It can be a lot. It can definitely be stressful, tiring, all that. But when you're like doing something with your friend, like that's why I like working with my friends a lot, even though I'm also working on trying to get big placements. It's just because they respect a lot of the creativity. You know, they're like, they don't see it as just like, oh, this is just a beat. You know, they see it as more of a creative thing, like, oh, let's see what we can make together, instead of, oh, let's just hop on this beat and like let's make a song. It's not just, oh, I'm working with this person. Like, a lot of the times artists will go to specific engineers just because they like them as a person. They're not just there to like, they're not bots. You know, you can't, like, if you're working with a high profile client in any regard, you have to kind of treat it as like a working relationship. You can't fan out. That's what separates a lot of good engineers from bad ones, is the way they interact with people. But production, I guess it's just a lot of the same things too. Like, there's some producers that just interact terribly with people. It's just like they'll swipe up and be like, yo, let me send you beats. Like, just right into it without even trying to like develop a relationship. They're just like, yo, let me send you beats. And it's just like, no. Like, imagine you go up on the street and someone's like, yo, I got something for you. You'd say, no, get away from me. Right. Someone comes up with you, yo, I got something for you. What, no.
Walking away,
no.
Yeah. Walking away for sure.
You need a way in, like real shit. Like, and that goes for like anything. You know, I feel like any type of creative knows that they need like a way to get in the door to really make a connection with somebody. And that, like, I wanted to ask you about, you know, some of the people that you've made connections with that reappear on your music. So talking about people like Pleasant Boys or Ranch God or, you know, Leandra DL, like, what is it like when you've established that connection and you're working with those artists?
I think it's just like you got to like. It's a relationship. Like, it's not just like a working thing. Like, it's not just like, oh, let's make a song. No, like, a lot of my artist friends are also just like like some of my best friends. Like, I've known them for years. So it's not more than just like they invite me to cookouts and stuff. They're like, we hang out. Like, we'll just hang out in person. We'll play 2K or whatever. Nice. We'll play video games, whatever. Like, it's the key to having sustaining relationships in this business is keeping sustaining relationships with people. It's not just, oh, you do one thing, whatever. You work with them, you talk with them, you like, bro, even just like talking to someone about like a TV show or whatever. If they're like a remote connection, just talk to them about like whatever, football, sports, just movies, whatever. They're like, oh, you see them post something about a TV show, you swipe up, be like, oh, I really like this TV show, and then you talk about it like that. Like, that's a key to maintaining relationships in this business. Just making sure it doesn't go stale, making sure that you still keep that connection fresh in your mind or their mind, and vice versa.
No, absolutely. And I mean, on the topic of connections, we teased it a bit earlier, but you did recently sell out a show back in Vermont with some of the hometown friends. Tell us a bit about the show. How did it come to fruition? Who was there? Tell us about
that was so a lot of my friends, like Pleasant, I mentioned them before, but Pleasant Street and Tyler, along with a few other people, they run a show, or what's it called? They throw shows. They throw shows. They make shows. They started it in Castleton, Vermont, and they would build the stage out of like just wood, just whatever they had, just like scraps. They built a stage out of basically like scrap wood, and then they booked the big venue in Vermont, Higher Ground, and they got Christ Dillinger and Acid Soulja, DJ Lucas. Those were the big headliners, and then they were like, yo, we want you to DJ the whole thing.
Hell yeah.
And they had a couple of my friends show. They wanted them on the lineup, and oh man, that was a fun night. I was DJing the whole thing. I wasn't originally supposed to, but you know, situations changed. I DJ'd the whole thing, and I was like, I kept talking with them like throughout the time when they were promoting it. They were like, oh, I was like, how many tickets we sold? Oh, we sold 6. Oh, now we sold 86.
Yeah.
Day of the show, they were like, oh, we have 150. And an hour before the show starts, they were like, yeah, we have 200. And then 5 minutes before I was supposed to go on, I was like geeked out in the green room because I was like, oh my god, like what I've never performed in front of this many people before. They were like, yeah, there's a line around. My brother called me, actually. My brother, he was like, yo, can you get me in? I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, there's a line around the building.
Hell yeah.
There's a line around the building, and it's packed. Like, we want to get in. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm on in 2 minutes, but this is amazing. This is incredible. I can't believe it.
So, like, with the whole audience there and, like, it was packed out, you know, what music were you playing to really get people in that mode?
I was like, oh, because Christ Dillinger and Acid Soulja, they were the big headliners. So I was like, okay, let me play some underground, right? At first, I was like, they were not feeling it. They were not feeling it. They were stagnant, bro. This was hilarious. So I played my opener, which was like a Cat Williams skit about like the Chrysler and the Phantom 300, or the Chrysler 300 and a Phantom, and I did that into Overseas by Ken Carson, and then I did like my little opener, like, oh, yo, welcome to Bass World, Vermont, like blah 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 blah. And then I was like, all right, let's open this shit up, right? Like, so let's open this pit, like, yo, like let's get ready to have some fun, right? Pit gets wide open, and I drop Pop Out by Playboi Carti, and the one person who was in the pit was this one guy with crutches.
Oh wow!
What? So it was this one guy with crutches, just kind of like hobbling around in there, and I was like, okay, this is. I gotta figure something out.
Yo, what do you even say to that?
I said, there's no way this guy can be the only guy in this pit, guys. Like, he's in crutches. You guys gotta help him out a little bit. So then I ended up playing more like known stuff. I played some Jeezy, Bankroll Fresh, and then some like known stuff. I played some Chief Keef, and then it ended up getting more active, and then there was a little bit of more. There was more mosh pits. I played Shoot Up. I played Boy Cardi. That was the one. That was the one. I was like, oh, you guys know this one. You guys know this one. You guys, let's see something before the artists come on.
And what about, you know, your collaboration with DJ Lucas, Hanging Off the Cliff? How was it like hearing everybody screaming the lyrics to a song that you worked on? Like,
that was nuts, bro. I knew he had fans. Like, I know he has a good, strong cult fan base because he's been doing this for years, like 7 years strong. When he played that, he was like, yeah, he shouted me out too. He was like, yo, this beat was made by Caleb. Like, he's DJing tonight. Like let's like just drop this shit. And then hearing that, because I knew it was big on Spotify. Like, I've seen it. It's got like almost 200,000 streams. Like, I know it's big for like the underground. But hearing people, like hearing his fans and hearing the people from my hometown actually just like sing it word for word, that was nuts. They were going feral for him, man. They were hyped. It was unreal. It was a special experience, I gotta say.
Wow. No, hell yeah. I mean, we've heard some of the music. We're going to get into some more music pretty soon. But I'm curious, you know, you have, obviously, your producer tag in all the tracks. But do you feel like there's a thread or something that you pull from kind of from all your beats that is, like, you as a producer?
I definitely use similar, like, 808 patterns. Like, I definitely have kind of, over years of work, just kind of crafted. Like, I'm like, oh, if it works, it works. You know, I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. If I need to churn out like 3 beats in like an hour, I'll use similar 808 patterns. I'll do that. But I definitely think that like how I mix my beats, how they sound, how they're hitting in the master, how they're hitting your ears, definitely is like what my style is. Like, you can kind of like tell when I made a beat just based on mixing. But I don't think there's like a huge, like, even though I'll use similar patterns, they won't sound the same because I'll change it up. I know what grooves work. I know which patterns kind of like work in bigger songs. So I'll kind of, you know, take inspiration from that and then just kind of put it in my own thing, but put my own spin on it.
Wow. This has been a great insight into the producer side, the engineer side of the underground hip-hop world. Thank you, Caleb, so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for coming out, bro.
Of course.
Man, this has been a great first, preview into a new segment at NFU Radio, Behind the Boards. Thank you so much, Caleb. We're going to get into a couple more songs that Caleb has worked on, and then we're going to get into a live. He's going to break down a loop for us, and he's going to make a beat for us live on air, y'all, so stay tuned.